The night sky becomes so soothing. But if you look closely, you will see the battlefield. All over the cosmos, wherever you look, the battles of the Titans are not for life but for death. Some ram each other at great speed like war elephants. Others were trained in strength training similar to judo wrestlers. And the eyes attacked a lone opponent in a whole gang, tearing him to pieces. Collisions of galaxies are the most spectacular events in the universe, and one day we will turn from spectators of this battle show into its participants. In 4 billion years, Andromeda and our Milky Way will enter a battle not for life, but for death. In this video you will find out which of the galaxies is stronger and better prepared for the duel. Does this mean that all the stars will collide in the sky? What fate awaits us in the heat of the galactic battle? Before betting on our survival or death, let's assess the strength of the galactic fighters. What can be opposed to each other? Kometsky path and Andromeda. Both galaxies are spiral, but that's where the similarities end. The Milky Way formed shortly after the Big Bang, about 13.5 billion years ago. But Andromeda is only 10 billion years old. But our opponent compensates for such a young age with size. The disk of Andromeda has a diameter of 220,000 light-years. Scientists counted 1 trillion stars in it. And the supermassive black hole at the center of Andromeda weighs at least 110 million suns. The visible disk of the Milky Way has a diameter of 100,000 light-years. Our fighter has a maximum of 400 billion stars in his arsenal. The central supermassive black hole is tiny compared to Andromeda's core and weighs as much as 4,100,000 suns. It turns out that the Milky Way is much weaker and will be defeated? Not so fast. Our fighter has an invisible trump card up his sleeve. The stars are just rattles to distract the eyes. They are only 1/6 of the true power of our galaxy. The Milky Way is surrounded by huge layers of dark matter, up to 2 million light-years in diameter. In Andromeda, a similar halo is much more modest. As a result, if the opponents were really weighed before the fight, the scoreboard would show the same thing, up to 1.5 trillion masses of the Sun. So to be nobody, the characteristics of my fighters and their training are important for the outcome of any battle. What collisions have the Milky Way and Andromeda already experienced? Our opponent was literally born in battle. Astronomers believe that Andromeda appeared as a result of the collision of several small galaxies. But trouble. In such a large-scale fight, most of the gas needed for the birth of new stars scatters in all directions without result. Although Andromeda is younger than the Milky Way, its stars are older and give the galaxy an amber color. 8 billion years ago, Andromeda swallowed a small galaxy. Another 100 million years ago. Such small collisions stimulate the birth of new stars. Scientists call this galactic cannibalism. And Kometsky is not new to it. Our galaxy has already devoured 12 less victims. But the feast is not over yet. In the next 4 billion years before the main battle, the Milky Way will have breakfast with the large and small Magellanic Clouds. Andromeda on the eve of the fight on a strict diet, but prepared a forbidden reception. Our opponent plans to go to battle with Psychic, a fairly large spiral galaxy M33. It can become the last snack of the Chimak path before the main night. This epic battle has several possible scenarios, but one thing is certain. Due to the gas ejection effect, the remnants of our beautiful white Milky Way will resemble yellow old Andromeda. What is this if not defeat? But for us as viewers, the main intrigue is not so much in the color of the new galaxy, but in the fate of the solar system itself. What exactly will happen when Andromeda and the Milky Way collide? Astronomers studied other galaxy battles in detail and came to an unexpected conclusion. Earth's imagination shows us how one disk crashes into another with all its stars. And space is filled with giant explosions and flares. But in reality, none of the approximately 1.5 trillion stars in Andromeda and the Milky Way can collide with another. At least it's almost impossible. All because even in the brightest galaxy there is much more relatively empty space, and stars are very rare. Yes, the nearest star to the Sun, Proxima Centauri, is a little more than 4 light-years away. Let's imagine that our luminary is a $1 coin. Then a Proxima Centauri about the size of a penny would have to be placed at a distance of 710 kilometers. At this scale, the dollar will end up in Detroit, and the penny in New York. As a result, the very collision of galaxies will resemble a busy intersection in Tokyo, where two crowds of pedestrians freely pass through each other. However, gravity will still mold the Milky Way and Andromeda into a giant cosmic egg, an elliptical galaxy. In its core they will merge together. Central supermassive black holes. The radiation from their interaction is capable of killing all life for hundreds of light-years around. Will we not become accidental victims in the heat of the galactic day? The solar system is now at a safe distance from the core of the Milky Way, in the Perseus arm. Then everything will depend on how exactly Andromeda hits us. The speed of convergence of galaxies is known 110 kilometers per second. But it is very difficult to calculate the trajectory of a collision in the distant future. In most simulations, the solar system seems to move into another lane on the highway, carries us away from supermassive black holes to the outer layers of the egg galaxy. Such a safe permutation will happen with a 50% probability. In another simulation, the gravitational reaction from colliding stellar arms would launch the solar system into the intergalactic void. So we'll be a lot lonelier than Joan Rowing is now. Without any chance to return to the star party. However, because of such total isolation, nothing terrible will happen to us. It's just that the night sky darkens a lot. Such a bummer for romantic walks is a 12% opportunity. But Andromeda may not push the solar system away, but take it to itself. In a simulation with a tangential collision, we will go aboard the opponent's galaxy. Sorry, Milky Way. And sorry it's all gravity. The maneuver is extreme but generally safe for us. The probability of such interception is 3%. But in the case of a rapid head-on collision of galaxies, the solar system can be attributed directly to the central black hole. A torn piece sucks us in like a rotorcraft caught in a tornado. Fortunately, the probability of such an outcome is less than 1%. Only under any scenario will we be able to observe a galactic collision from Earth. The heat of the battle. In about 4.5 billion years, the Sun will turn into a red giant and swallow our planet. It is hoped that humanity will settle at least on the outer planets of the solar system by that time. Most likely, the collision of Andromeda and the Milky Way will give our descendants a unique chance to go to completely unfamiliar stars. New galaxy. But what shall we call it? Mildroned? Milkomeda? Andrew? Scientists offer such options, but I don't like them. What is the starting point for the color and shape of the new galaxy? This will not be a terrible hybrid, but a wonderful youth name, Amber Egg. Write in the comments which name you like better. And of course offer your options.